Pickaxe.
Hello and welcome to YOMP.
That's my line! Hello and welcome to YOMP.
Was it maniacal or was it sexy?
Why not both?
Oh.
Yeah, listeners can be the judge. Oh, goodness gracious me. It's YOMP. It's Ye Old Movie Podcast, the only movie discussion podcast on the internet. Don't check that. That's true. I am Simon the Honeydew Diggy Holeman Lane, and I am joined by... I'm going to have to figure out which one it is. I'm joined by Sophie.
Hiya. I'm joined by G.
Hello, I'm joined by Simon and Sophie.
Yay!
Yay!
And Ezio, actually. Ezio's here too.
Ezio!
Special
He's
guest.
not getting a cut. Not getting a cut.
I think he should, actually.
He's a handsome boy, aren't you?
He should just get Handsy Boy credits.
Oh, yeah.
Number one Handsy Boy.
Where's my Handsy Boy credits?
They're going to Meccans. I'm sorry.
I'm owed back pay for 19 episodes.
Has it been
We've
that
had
many?
Wow.
18 and the episode 0. So this is episode 19.
I had a friend ask me what constitutes
The
as
20th.
an oldie movie. And I said, it's the podcast that's old. And he said, but it's new. And I said, it's not. We've had like 10 episodes. I didn't realise it was 19.
Oh, my God.
Oh my goodness.
But that's just Yogs, ye old goon squad, you know, ye old. That's the,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
It's the brand.
That's the brand.
Sure. We are talking about a particular movie that was randomly selected from a list of films that G had, and it was picked from this by the random rolling of dice.
Like, I'm just going to reiterate that this one was a G-star pick.
Yeah.
This was G.
Not me.
Not me.
Not Sophie.
This
could have been, honestly.
Yeah, this has been on the list since day one. Like, we talked about Jeff Goldblum's cock in a jar on the first... No, was it episode 0? It was episode 0. Yeah.
It has been on the list since the very start. I cannot believe it. I had to check. I didn't believe you. I didn't fucking believe you. Thought you were lying.
No, I'm truthing today.
She truthing.
Oh my God.
And what a movie it was. I was almost speechless at the end.
The whole time I was thinking, right, G's gonna be all right at this point. She's gonna be wavering at this point. She's gonna have completely lost the fucking plot at this point.
Oh, can't wait to hear which points, because I did lose my crap many points in the film.
Yeah.
She shit herself.
I did. I pipped my pants.
She made brown. Why did you pick this film?
So this was a film that I had spoken about with someone, and I'd been meaning to get around to watching it for quite some time. And I knew, Jeff Goldblum was in it. I knew a lot of people liked it. And I thought it'd be good for YOMP, I thought it'd be a good pick. And I think
agree.
it was.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. Sure, yeah.
Because the main thing is, it's not whether it's a good or a bad movie. It's whether we have things to talk about.
Oh, and we definitely do.
Right? Because if it was a good movie, and it would just be like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a good movie. I like this bit, and then it's like, case closed.
I couldn't believe this was on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe
be surprised What's on Disney
It's got
Plus.
effing. It's got gore.
It's got effing. It's got Jeffin.
It's got an inside-out baboon.
Holy Christ, that scene with the baboon.
I think that's where it started going downhill, at the point where I was thinking, oh yeah, G's gonna be sort of faltering here. She's wavering.
No,
she's checking out.
The thing that really, one of the things that I don't like, the things that make you cringe and go, I don't like nail horror. That.
Yeah, no, that is. It makes me cringe as well. It's
that
very
really
cringy.
bothered me. I had to
Nails
look away.
And eyes and teeth are pretty.
Oh no!
They're the trifecta of cringe.
Yeah, I think it's because I have sensory issues with like touching certain things that they make some things really bother me. Like
yes,
so that the thing with the nails just did not like it.
How do you feel about cotton wool?
Cotton. It's fine. It's more a case of like really dry towels, like ones that have been like, dried in the sun or like really coarse, and I don't like it.
It's like it sucks the moisture out of your fingers as soon as you touch.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know that the director is like renowned for body horror. So
yes,
yeah. It was quite something. It did give me very extra vibes. There were a lot of instances where I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's quite similar.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
That's very much a sort of. Have you seen them memes of like a guy who's only seen Back to the Future? Hey, it's just like this bit in Back to the Future.
Yeah, but extra is a really obscure pick though, so it's kind of the opposite there.
But it's sort of like it's a fucked up film that we've watched recently.
Yeah.
I really hope. I know I'm jumping the gun, but I really hope that I win with The Brood at the end of the episode.
That'd be fucking good.
That'd be such a good film to follow this up with. Another David Cronenberg film. But we'll see. My God, it's a very 70s film. I love it.
I love 70s movies.
And this is a very 80s movie.
It is. It's so 80s.
The computer graphics. I'm using air quotes as I'm saying.
I can tell you using air quotes.
Yeah.
He pulled away from the microphone, and you could just tell.
Oh, and Brian Ferry as well was playing in the bar sequence.
Oh.
Love a bit of Brian Ferry.
Wrong name.
I make no apologies.
I can only think of, I think it's in The Mighty Boosh where somebody was raised by Brian Ferry in the woods, and he's just got bits of magazine glued to his face for some reason.
What the fuck? Oh my God, that sounds quite Mighty Boosh, yeah. God. Okay, are we going to go through this chronologically as we normally do?
I think so. We've
got an hour and a half.
I have had feedback where people prefer it because they can follow along better.
Yeah.
Right. They got upset with the Dracula episode that was all over the place.
Everybody gets upset with the Dracula episode. No, they didn't.
I would just say it's fine to do it chronologically so long as we don't linger on like revising it too much, and we talk about what has happened as opposed to just like saying what happened.
Did we all watch this on Disney Plus?
We did.
We did.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I watched it the totally legitimate way.
Sorry, are you saying that Disney isn't a legitimate way of watching a film?
I watched it on Disney Negative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, winky face. Yeah.
Winky face. Oh, yeah, totally. I get it.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. I know, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah,
I'm sniffing what you're cooking.
Yeah. Wait, what's the point of the Disney Plus thing? Was there a difference in
I'm
the
feeling
copy?
your dry towel.
At the very start, it says, warning contains tobacco depictions.
Humanity.
I couldn't believe. I laughed my ass off at that. I couldn't believe that they have warnings like that.
The most tame thing out of the entire film.
They have warnings like that for everything. Like, I watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks on it, and they were like, warning, contains tobacco depictions, because some guy has a pipe. Contains knobs. And I love quoting, what's that got to do with my knob? You know, that kid.
Oh my God. I don't even want to know the context
well, because,
of that.
Right, this guy's he nicks the knob of the bed, right?
Yeah.
And
what are you doing,
Eglantine, she's like, oh, we need something to make this travel spell work.
Is that Angela Lansbury?
Yeah, and he's like, ew, what's that got to do with my knob?
God, she was so hot, wasn't she, in
what
that
a
film?
feisty fucking lady.
Christ on a bike. Oh, I would have kissed her. Oh, Angela Lansbury. Back in the day.
Whoa.
Did I have to add that as like a colliery?
I tell you what though, like she used to be gorgeous. She was in, what was that film? It was like Samson and Delilah, I think.
Oh my God. And she was the hussy Delilah.
Yeah, Samson and Delilah, 49, and she was
you can tell it's red hair.
Saucing it about. She was lovely. And she started looking immediately like an old lady at some point after that.
Oh no! As soon as she hit 30,
it will happen
games.
to you.
Oh, boof! I was watching some like as seen on TV commercials on stream the other day, and the woman who started the segment was like, "Ugh, when you hit the age of 30, things starts to happen." And I was like, "What the?"
Everything starts to sag.
Yeah, that's what she said.
literally what she said.
Yeah. But they were advertising that mouth, that thing that you put in your mouth to like exercise your mouth muscles, and it looks really.
I know exactly the blowjob machine.
Yeah, but not the lips. Not the lips.
It looks like a mouth harp, but it doesn't play anything.
Yeah.
Plays the banjo
That
string.
thing. Oh my God. That is disgusting. Ugh, you're revolting.
That is disgusting.
Right.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
We're on limited time. We got to get moving. Okay, so we have Seth Brundle. Jeff Goldblum is talking to a science reporter who works for a magazine called Veronica Quaife. I don't think at any point we hear her surname.
I don't even remember hearing her first name. I'll be real with you.
Ronnie. I do remember her first name. She's played by Gina Davis, and I fucking love Gina Davis.
They were a real life couple at the time of filming.
Oh, that's why it was so convincing when they were shagging them.
Yeah, because he was actually inside of her.
Two birds, one stone.
That's Don't Look Now, actually. That's when they... Anyway, that's a different film. Right. He says to her that he's working on something that would change the world and human life as we know it. He invites her back to his lab for coffee, but she just thinks that he's like some sort of virgin nerd.
Because he is.
But somehow, like the next scene, she's driving in a car, he's car sick, and they're on the way to the lab.
Yeah.
So somehow it worked.
It worked. I don't know how it worked.
He doesn't realize she's a journalist, though, which is hilarious. He just wants to impress a lady, right? And he wants to...
Yeah.
I don't believe that he didn't know. Like, who did he think she was?
Just some chick, I guess, like at the convention.
Hanging out at like a science convention.
Because, yeah.
Sure.
Listen, there are some hot science babes out there.
There sure are. There sure are.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but
no,
you know.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's plenty.
She goes to a different school. You wouldn't know her.
In Canada.
In Canada. Buy me a Coke. So Jeff Goldblum, Seth Brundle suffers from motion sickness. He always has. He apparently was cycling his little trike as a toddler, and he threw up over himself. That's how bad his motion sickness is. And, of course, it makes sense that he would want to invent what he goes on to invent because of motion sickness. Hates travelling.
I once had
Perfectly
motion
logical.
sickness so bad, I think it was just anxiety that even walking would set it off.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
I think that's just vertigo, isn't it?
I think so.
My
it's
God.
just anxiety.
So they arrive at the lab. Brundle turns on the lights.
He says, oh, it's cleaner inside. That was a lie.
And it sure as shit wasn't.
Wasn't? It's
really.
filthy.
I mean,
it's weird.
It's a lab.
He has a sofa bed.
I mean, like, first of all, he gets to the lab and it's out like some sort of like warehouse looking place. And I honestly thought he was taking her there to kill her because he even makes a joke about it.
Never do that with a woman. Never do that.
She wasn't phased. She was like,
It was the 80s. It was a different time.
This is one of the first parallels with men that I have dated, joking that they're not going to kill me.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning this. Yeah.
Yeah, you said this last week, didn't you?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Listen, it's just so relevant all the time.
Always tell a woman, whether you're joking or not, that you're going to kill her on the first date. It really works, fellas. It does wonders.
Like at the start of the movie Barbarian, there's a guy that does that, and it makes things very uncomfortable.
That's just one of the many uncomfortable things.
I'm not a psycho. I'm not going to kill you or anything. You're like, oh god. I'm watching a horror movie and the man's just said that. So, he turns on the lights and there are 2 pods and a piano. And then he starts playing the piano. He's tinkling away.
He's got his own
he's
theme
pretty
tune.
good. Quite impressed.
Yeah.
But Ronnie is not impressed with anything at all. She's not impressed with his piano playing. She's a little bit weirded out. She looks at the pods and she says they're designer phone booths.
There's actually 3 pods. He made one that was the prototype.
Yeah.
And then he had
which comes back later.
Yeah.
So it is relevant.
It is.
He calls them telepods, which means faraway feet in Greek. But sure. He asks for like an item from her, a personal item that she might have on her person. She lifts up her leg, takes off a shoe, and takes her stocking off and hands it to him. And when he takes it from her, I thought he was going to sniff it.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to go and give it a good sniff.
Why didn't she just put a shoe in there? Surely that's
expensive. Stockings, easy to replace.
Yeah.
He pops it into Telepod 1. He has a lovely computer and it has voice recognition.
Which is quite fucking advanced in itself, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if he invented that.
It's so advanced that it captures his R's when he goes, Brundle Seth. You know how he says R all the time?
His ums and R.
His ums and R's. And I'm just like, oh my God, Jeff. I mean, it's quite...
It's just Jeff, innit?
It is, yeah. He loves his R's.
Jeff for you.
He loves himself. That's why he gets his kit off in nearly every fucking film he's in.
Oh my God, he certainly does. He certainly fucking does.
Is there a scene where I take my clothes off? Can we write that in?
The stocking vanishes from Telepod 1 and it's now lying in Telepod 2, which is 15 feet away. Ronnie reaches for it, and as she leans into the pod, we hear the hum of the inside, and I really love that.
Nice little touch.
It's like
a nice touch.
Yeah. Great sound design. That bit. There's a lot of buzzy noises in this film. It's not subtle, but even scenes that don't have flies, you'll hear like a buzzing, and you'll go, did I just hear a buzz? And it happens all the fucking time. So Ronnie realizes that this isn't real. This is real. This guy isn't some insane guy. He's actually created a teleporter. And she has a sneaky little tape recorder that she turns on.
And then she exposes it. It's like, okay.
And then it beeps because the tape runs out and she has to turn it over.
Yeah, she's very forthright about that at that particular moment because she's like, well, of course, I'm a fucking journalist.
And he's like, you're a what?
What are the chances?
He didn't realize, which is so fucking dumb. He asks for the tape back. And she's literally recorded 1 minute of him explaining his teleporter.
Pretty important information, though. Like the company that's funding it and, what he's achieved. And so she captures a decent amount before she has to switch it over. But still, she thinks
he wants this tape. because he wants it to remain secret. He's not ready for the world to know. But she just leaves, and he says, "What about your stocking?" And she says, "Keep it for good luck." Like, weird, pretty weird. But she's onto a hot story.
She seems a bit odd. But yeah, I genuinely thought he was luring her there to use her in this machine. And I was like, oh, that's starting off very strong. I mean,
we got a whole love story to go through.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't know much about the film, so I thought he, was just getting live test subjects and, putting them in there.
This is probably my 6th or 7th time watching this film.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah, I watched it so much, like in the 90s when I was like a teenager. Loved it.
Is it because it's like softcore porn in parts?
Well, maybe a little bit of that. Honestly,
you get to see a bit of Gina Davis' side boob.
Oh, a lovely bit of side tits. Oh,
Jeff Goldblum's ass.
He has such a small butt. Like, really small butt.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like weird. I don't like it.
Very tiny tushy.
It's like Lewis. No cake.
I was going to say, have you seen Lewis's butt in the flesh?
Well, I mean, I have, yeah.
Oh.
Up close.
Interesting.
Okay, next scene is at the offices of the magazine, which is in this lovely skyscraper building. And we meet Ronnie's editor, and he isn't impressed when she's explaining this thing and playing the tape. He says he's conning you. It's an old nightclub routine, 2 cabinets, and I did the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV set.
Yeah!
And I was like, prestige reference! Prestige!
I wrote that down too.
Oh my god. I put the DiCaprio pointing, but for something else, and I don't remember what it was, but we'll probably get to that
we'll figure
point.
It out.
Yeah.
It was probably seen with foot.
He also had, yeah, probably. He had Carl Sagan's Contact on the shelf behind him as well. I'm like, I did
very science.
The point at that.
Oh,
I know that. I've got that.
So, like, almost like immediately afterwards, Brundle kind of like barges in to the room. But the editor is like, blah blah blah. He doesn't believe. He just thinks he's a con man. Doesn't believe teleportation's real, and he just leaves.
I love how it just leaves him in the office.
I know, it was really weird. Okay. He's a busy man. And then Brundle, he goes up to Ronnie and he says, I've come here to say one magic word to you. Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
I mean, that's Riz for days. The way to a woman's heart is food.
So many
she
weird
goes
lines.
For it. And what a massive fucking cheeseburger.
Well, he puts his hands up as well. He does the shape, and I'm like,
ta-da! Cheeseburger.
Yeah. They're in this weird diner that could be a Mackie D's, but I'm not sure. And I'm pretty sure they're drinking Pepsi.
No, it's not a Mackie D's. It's just a diner.
It looks, I don't know. Is it 1980s Mackie D's? Could have looked
like
that. Did
you see the size of that burger? There's no way that is.
No,
point, that
actually.
Was a huge boygie. Huge.
Boy.
Plus, the Mackie D's back in like the 80s and 90s were very vibrant, very red and very white, and they had the colourful patterns and.
It's probably whatever burgers they have in Ontario or wherever it was filmed.
What do they have? Some Canadian.
I've no idea.
Maple burger.
Maple burger, eh?
We like to get with the hockey.
Oh my god. Brundle reveals that he can only teleport inanimate objects. No organic material works. And she says, well, what happens if you try and teleport organic material? And then he refuses to answer whilst they're eating. So, can't be good.
Smart.
Can't be good. He pitches the idea of her writing a book about him as this wonderful genius inventor, with the climax of the book, so to speak, being him teleporting himself And at that point, I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, he's doing a good job, trying to convince her to not, write the piece straight away, because obviously a book takes more time. Yeah. So he's
buying
like,
time.
You can just spend all that time with me.
I don't have a life.
You can just hang out with me the whole time.
I love the
person you've just fucking met.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it works.
But she's up for it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Ronnie goes back home and there's a man in her shower.
Yeah.
And it's the editor. Apparently they had a thing a while back and he has a key to her house, but she is not happy with his presence there. His name is Stathis Borans and he looks like Stannis Baratheon from Game of Thrones.
I think you're
me.
just saying that because of the name. I think
They got similar names and they don't not look like each other.
So-and-so.
I love his name.
I think he's
I'm
meant to be
going to write
Greek.
that down for the cat.
Stathis Borans.
It's a Greek name, isn't it?
It's a Greek name, yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
G-Star Games.
Cypriot is not Greek, though.
Oh, we get a tobacco depiction. Gina Davis is smoking.
Yes. And she's got a lovely little apartment. She's got nice little teacups, coffee cups. And I'm thinking,
nice.
She's living the life.
Yeah, it's very cozy. But yeah,
it's quite girly. It's nice.
Yeah.
He sort of like shows up, which was just because she like opens the door, walks in very like sus, and she's like, "What the fuck? Who's in my fucking shower?" And then she pulls the curtain back, and he's there, and she's pissed. And he's like, "Oh, I felt grimy from my day, and I wanted a shower." I'd be livid. I'd be so mad.
And then she flushes the toilet so that the shower water gets hot.
Queen.
Which I thought was very clever. I like that.
Yeah.
So he goes, ah! Yee!
I thought that he'd left a massive shit in the toilet and she was just flushing it. She was pissed off.
Oh, God.
She basically like ushers him out and he's kind of like a dick. She asks for the key back and he refuses. And that's like such a dick move.
He's such a fucking schizo. He's like very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because he has his like moments of normalcy sometimes, but then he'll say stuff like, "Want me to come back and tuck you in?" And it's like really creepy and just like, oh God.
He's a creep. He's a fucking creep.
Yeah.
Then back in the lab, Brundle is attempting to teleport something organic. It's Shakma from the eponymous movie.
Is it actually Shakma?
I don't think it is, no.
Is the actor Baboon Shakma? I need to find this out.
I don't think it is. I couldn't see an erection, so I don't think it was Shakma.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to have to Google that.
Shakma! It's a baboon.
It's a baboon.
Baboon.
And he teleports it, and then we see on the glass of Pod 2, its bloody hand thwack against it.
So sad.
And it's horrible. And when you think that's all you're going to see, oh, no. This is a fucking David Cronenberg movie. He opens the pod and we see in all of its glory this fucking inside-out baboon. There's twitching muscles and veins. There's blood spurting out of it. It's grunting. And it's fucking horrific.
Yeah, it's awful.
G-Star Games, how did you feel about this?
That was the least horrific thing of the movie. Weirdly, that like for me, that was like not that bothersome. I wasn't.
You don't give a shit about baboons.
No. I do. I just wasn't that bothered by the visuals of the monkey getting blown up. It didn't, because it's just like gunk, right? But
it's just goo. You can't tell that it's a monkey anymore.
Yeah, yes,
No.
but a lot of the other stuff that happened in the film was very visceral, very body horror.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't that bothered. All I kept thinking of was like the monkey meme, the one where it's like fight wife, the kill wife, regret. So that's what I'm thinking is going through Jeff Goldblum's mind. I blew up monkey. Regret.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, is this a friend? Did you know there was actually a deleted scene where he spliced the monkey with a cat?
Like the fucking original short story, I think.
Yeah, but it was too brutal even for...
But it's him. He's got the head and the arm of a fly. He tries to fix it. He previously teleported a cat and it just vanished and never reappeared. So he goes through the teleporter just by himself to see if it fixes it. But then he gets joined with the cat. So now he's part man, part fly, and part fucking cat.
Beautiful.
In the original story.
I do have.
And I would have loved to have seen that.
So I've got something for you instead. Instead of this. So there is. I'm always going to bring back the Comic Strip Presents. Simon, have you seen The Yob? Which is a short. The
Yob.
Yeah, it's a film. A Comic Strips Presents film. Short film, and it's basically where there's a scientist. There's two scientists, and they're trying to create they're doing something, and there's teleportation pods, and basically one guy's this absolute lout, and there's this really posh artistic guy, and they accidentally go into the pods thinking they're toilets or whatever, and they get their brains switched basically, and he transforms into a yob, and the other guy transforms into like a very artsy type. But at the end, they actually have a cat going into the pod. And
oh my god!
She's the scientist lady's like, oh my god, we're going to have created the perfect man. And the doors open, and a guy comes out. He's very handsome or whatever. And then the music starts to sort of like go down in tone. And the camera lowers, and he's got the cat's lower body. And he's just walking out with his big old ginger legs and his
I've not watched that one. That's amazing.
I recommend it. It's
God.
One of my favourites, and I quote it all the fucking time. The transformation scene in that is really good.
Holy shit. Obviously inspired by The Fly.
Of course. I've got to see if I can find a clip to put on places.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, Jesus.
And UB40's in that as well.
Wow. That's not really sold me on it. Oh my god.
Well.
So we have Ronnie filming Brundle, who's explaining that his experiment with the baboon failed.
I love that recorder, by the way. I miss those
chunky cameras.
I mean, you'd had like if you were a kid in the 80s or 90s, you had like the family one, and it was in this like big little camera bag, and they had the spare tapes on the side, and the whole charging kit for it. I miss them. I know they're like big and clunky, but they were good.
Yeah. Brundle says the computer doesn't know how to deal with flesh, and that he needs to learn all about the flesh himself in order to teach the computer. And I was like, oh yeah.
This is how
I know what you mean.
This is how you know that Cronenberg actually had a hand in writing the screenplay, because he has this thing about the word flesh in itself. Yeah. He just loves it. He loves to.
It's a good word.
It's a
very
good
visceral.
Word, yeah.
There's the great bit when Ronnie calls out Brundle, not Jeff Goldblum. Ronnie calls out Brundle for always wearing the same clothes. And she opens up his wardrobe, and there's 5 sets of exactly the same clothes. And he says that he learned this from Einstein.
He learned it from The Simpsons.
He never has to worry about what he's going to wear. He just puts on the fresh clothes, and then he can focus on science things.
Yeah, he doesn't have to put too much thought into his outfits.
Ronnie says that she's bought steak. This is going to come up later. And then she gets all flirty. She creeps close to him. He's like lying on the sofa bed. She smooches him. She mounts him, I think would be the term.
Why is she so into him all of a fucking sudden, though?
I don't know. It's weird because maybe he showed like a vulnerable side with his like his experiment failing, yet he's still motivated and passionate about what he believes in, and maybe that did it for her.
Maybe
because she is just fucking dripping wet.
He is
at this point.
Charming though, in his like he's shy, he's reserved, but he's also like enthusiastic about his work, and she's seeing him in his like natural environment, I guess. So
they make fuck.
And afterwards,
she's the little spoon even though she was on top of him earlier, which I thought was interesting. Doesn't mean anything. Brundle had kind of been like lying on like a piece of circuit board, and he's got like a little wound on his back. And Ronnie asks if he has any disinfectant so she can clean the wound. He says no, and then she proceeds to kiss the wound, which
Fucking
like what?
weird.
Well, that's what I'd do. If somebody hurt themselves and they said, I haven't got any disinfectant, I don't want this to get infected, and I'd be like, don't worry, I'll put more germs in it.
Yeah,
put more germs from my mouth.
Also,
before they like we're gonna do the fuck, I half expected her to say, destroy me like you did that baboon.
Oh
turn
my
me inside
God.
out, you
Turn me inside
Oh, Jesus. And then Ronnie says, it's cleaner on the inside. Don't worry about it. What she does say is, in their post-coital smooching, she's like biting at him, and she says, I just want to eat you up. You know, that's why old ladies pinch babies' cheeks. It's the flesh. It makes you crazy. And then Brundle has like an epiphany from this.
Which is absolute bullshit.
Which I'm not quite sure how that follows.
I think the scientist's mind works in a different way.
I guess it does. He takes the steak she bought earlier, cuts it in half, has one as like the control, the other half, he teleports. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ronnie eats the normal steak, and she's like, yeah, it just tastes like steak. And then she's about to eat the second part that's teleported, and she's unsure because the fucking inside out baboon, sorry, she says monkey, he corrects her, baboon, was in the fucking same pod as that steak. And she's like, it was in the pod with the inside out, and then he just shoves the fork in her mouth, making her eat it.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's like, ooh.
She says that she says it tastes funny. It tastes synthetic.
Yeah.
And Brundle says the computer is rethinking it rather than reproducing it. And that's a bit confusing. And he sounds a little bit mad scientist-y when he says that he needs to teach the computer how to be driven crazy by flesh.
Yeah.
And he says something about the poetry of steak as well. Very weird. And I'm like, well, I don't know how you're going to teach a computer any of that. But he's working on it. Ronnie leaves. She spent the night there. She's eaten steak. She drives off. And there, in what I've put in my notes, inside of a cat, I meant to type car, stalking her is the editor. It's Stathis, her ex. He's been fucking stalking her. He's probably been in that car all night outside of the lab.
Yeah.
Just crazy stalker behavior. She goes shopping to buy a big leather coat for Brundle, presumably.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's got the same outfit.
No.
She's fucking weird. Yeah.
Oh, actually, what G was about to say, because he always wears the same clothes. She wanted to buy him new clothes.
Yeah, but like he
That
likes
makes
his
sense.
clothes.
She's trying to riz him up. You know, she's basically, I can fix him.
You and your Riz.
I can fix him.
I can fix him. He's the ultimate I can fix him, and it pervades throughout the film. It's insane.
Yeah. And of course Stathis is there in the shop, and he acts like a fucking psycho. He confesses to basically stalking her. He reveals that he knew that she stayed overnight at the lab. And she says, don't you get it? I'm finally onto something that's big, huge. And he says, yeah, what? His cock?
I laughed at that.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Fantastic.
She calls him disgusting, and he is, I hated him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, very
asshole.
unhinged in this scene.
This is why you never mix work with pleasure.
Well, their
Sure.
relationship was pretty sus. Very inappropriate relationship.
Yeah,
to
we
say
do
the
learn
least.
later how they met. It's a lovely story.
Yeah, it's a lovely story. Tale as old as time. But I realize she's she's meant to be like she's like an audience proxy because she asks so many questions. Like the questions I guess the audience would be asking themselves, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she acts like an audience proxy because she's just constantly asking these like I guess seemingly stupid questions sometimes. I'm just like, oh my God, just get on with it.
No, it's very useful to have that.
Yeah, it is, but sometimes it's she comes across a bit too daft. But sometimes, not a lot, only sometimes.
She's a science reporter. She should know stuff, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. Because I love the.
She's also a journalist. She's good at asking questions.
True. True. Also, did you guys know that the composer? You realize who the composer was for the music composer for the film?
No.
Howard Shore, Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
You didn't realize? Oh, the music is iconic. I'm like the music is what makes some of the scenes so insane to me. Like very drummed up, very dramatic.
He didn't do like.
I think this was one of his.
Did he do the Coronation Street theme? I don't think it was.
do, 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 do. Yes. Also, right. I've just found out. Oh, sorry. Shakma is played by the baboon called Typhoon, who also played the baboons in The Fly.
Oh my God! It
Duncan
was
Jackson's baboon in The Order of the Black Eagle.
It was fucking Shakma.
It was Shakma.
It's the same one in Order of the Black Eagle.
Same monkey.
The one that drives the tank.
Amazing.
Yeah. The tank driving monkey.
I can't believe it. It's not a monkey, it's a baboon.
Sorry. There's only one actor baboon.
Hollywood
baboon at that time.
Brundle attempts to teleport the brother of the baboon he turned inside out.
Also played by Typhoon.
Yes, the same. We never see both baboons in the same shot. And something happens. Pod door 2 opens up, and it runs out. It charges Brundle and leaps into his arms and gives him a hug. I thought he was going to attack.
That scene.
Like a fake out. Oh my God. I thought his face was going to get ripped off. But no, it was just a little hug.
I was like, oh, he's excited. And then he jumped. Like, it was the most... I loved it. He looked so stoic and...
How fuzzy do you think he looks really cute to cuddle?
He's a fuzzy boy.
He's a fuzzy man.
So cute. So cute. I loved that scene. I was like, whoa, he's so cute. Good.
So before they do the human testing, i.e. Brundle taking the teleporter, they need to do some tests on the baboon to make sure it's okay. But during that time, Ronnie wants them to go on holiday, basically to get away from her ex, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then she discovers there's this massive letter from the editor, Stathis. And she opens it up, and it's a mock-up cover of Particle magazine, which has Brundle drawn on it, or painted on it, and he looks wonderful. I thought he looked like the 12th Doctor, Capaldi.
Definitely.
And the pods even look like TARDIS, don't they?
Yeah, it's definitely a Doctor Who. Do you think, like, who did he commission to get that done so quickly, though, man? Like, that's... I don't know how...
impressive.
I don't know how long they've been dating, because, like, he's calling her Ronnie, which is quite a close nickname, I guess, as well. And... I don't know how much time has been passing between all of this.
Yeah,
and I also
they're not really clear on it.
Can monkeys have champagne?
Oh.
Because I wanted him to celebrate too.
Oh.
And also, she said, like, let's go on holiday like old married couples. And I'm thinking, yes, because only old married couples go to Florida or have holidays.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God. So she hides this magazine cover from Brundle, and he was just about to order Chinese food, and she just leaves to go and confront the editor at the office. He basically persuades her to feed him information about Brundle. He's nosy. He wants to find out about this man, both, I think, as a journalist and as someone snooping on who his ex is fucking, I think. He, as she's leaving, he asks about, there's no emotion here, there's no love between us, but what about sex? Can we just have sex? And she just walks out. And I'm like, this fucking man.
I know.
Unbelievable.
What about sex? I don't want to lose you from my life. But, he's normal again and he's acting, fine. And then, of course, 180.
He can't resist being a weirdo.
Far out, man. I wasn't sure who he was in the beginning because obviously he was in her, she was in his office. But I wasn't sure, if he was her, because I think he's her editor, which means that he is above her. But yeah, the dynamic there is just what the fuck.
He's always been in a superior role to her throughout their entire relationship.
Yeah,
not great.
No.
Brundle he's drunk. He's finishing off the champagne by himself. He's talking to the baboon about the troubles he's having. Basically, the troubles. He knows that she has ex issues, but I don't understand how he knows this. And somehow he knows that she's gone to see him. But I don't think that was ever revealed in the previous. The scene before the last one, which is a little bit weird. It feels like a scene might have gotten cut or some lines got cut.
Maybe, yeah. That's a good point. I mean, he comes to the conclusion, right? He's
a very smart man. He knows he can piece these things together.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it when Brundle apologizes to the baboon for killing his brother.
Yeah. Sorry, the power stance, the baboon jumping on him was when... I know I'm skipping forward a little bit, but was when Seth, is that his name?
Brundle.
When Brundle came out of the pods, that's when the baboon jumped on him like he's his father or something. And I thought it was very cute.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I mixed the scenes up.
So, as Brundle apologizes to the baboon for killing his brother, we see the fly. It's buzzing around, irritating the baboon.
I love him. He's so cute.
I know.
The baboon is clearly annoyed by it.
I'm annoyed by it. I hate the sound of insects.
I don't know how they did this.
Never drunk teleport. What do you mean you don't know how they did it?
How did they get a fly to buzz around this baboon?
Well, they just released a fly, and the fly goes, "That baboon stinks."
Yeah, maybe they put something appealing.
Maybe it was an actor.
You fucking
Hollywood
stinky
fly.
boy.
The fly is a paid actor, just like the baboon.
Must be.
Check his IMDb. Check the fly's IMDb.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this was
my
the same
God.
fly that was appearing in.
Other movies with flies.
I don't know any other movies with flies.
So Brundle's drunk, and he says, "What are we waiting for? Let's do it." He's gonna teleport himself.
Yeah.
He fires up the computer. He films everything on the video camera, and he is naked as the day he was born, crouched inside of pod number 1. And then the fly sneakily flies inside the pod with him, and we see it on a little porthole window in the side. The timer counts down. The baboon watches. And I don't know if the baboon's trying to warn him that something's gone wrong, but it doesn't do enough job. Brundle notices the fly, but it's too late. Zap. He's teleported. He's in pod 2. He walks out naked.
Wait, did he notice the fly?
And in one piece.
I don't know whether he did.
I don't think he did.
He does. He looks at the fly the instant he's teleported.
Oh.
You think you'd have some kind of internal thing to turn it off?
Some kind of fail-safe would have been really useful. But then this film wouldn't exist.
Yeah, true.
If that was the case.
True.
The baboon then leaps into his arms as he walks out, which is nice.
Very good boy.
I love how they cuddle each other. They embrace each other after every successful teleportation.
Yeah.
Hey!
It's so cute.
They're brothers.
Or little bro.
Ronnie returns to the lab and Brundle's asleep in bed. He confesses to her that he went through last night And then we have the scene where she
I followed through last night.
Ugh. She explains her relationship with Stathis. She says Stathis was her ex. He was teaching at college and she was a science major.
That's so inappropriate.
Gotcha.
And I'm pretty sure that we hear a buzzing sound, like, right before this.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that buzz?
It's tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah, could well have been.
Is it tinnitus or tinnitus?
I don't know.
Yes.
I always called it tinnitus, but I think it's tinnitus.
Simon's not. Yes. Thank you. Very helpful.
Oh, Brundle also tells her that he filmed everything so she can watch it at her convenience, that there's proof of him being teleported. And then they make out. And we notice there's the wound on his back now has weird hairs growing out of it. That's strange.
He just says that he's getting old.
Yeah. I didn't understand that part. Like, I know he had that, like, chip thing go into his back and it, like, made those lines and indents. But why specifically did it start developing from there?
Because his DNA has been altered, and as his body's trying to heal itself, it's using partial fly DNA to heal.
Okay.
Yeah. They're lying on the sofa bed, asleep, and then we hear a fly buzzing around for real, and Brundle just immediately wakes up and catches it in his hand, just in like a split second. Which, like, I thought, that's a bit weird. Maybe he could always do that, though.
Yeah.
Maybe it has nothing to worry about.
Nothing to do with it.
Maybe he's just got really good reactions, and always has. This is when we see Gina Davis's side tit when she wakes up and gets out of bed. Because Brundle is just in his lab having a real hard think before before Jeff Goldblum's stunt double starts doing gymnastics. And in my notes, I have put, at this point, he is at his most fuckable ? I'll have to ask the ladies.
I mean, if a guy just starts doing gymnastics
I wrote
around...
down, men just start growing hair in weird places, though, and men just do acrobatics. They just do it.
I have a friend who used to do that. He just used to, like, I don't know, do fucking handstands and shit. Like, while we're, like, sitting and having coffee in Cyprus. I'm like, are you all right?
Is everything all right, sir?
Men things. Did you find him fuckable? It's one of those things. It doesn't make
it's like, it reminded me of the scene in Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire films, when he gets bit and he's at his most, he's
fuckable.
Not sure about fuckable, but
peak male performance.
Yeah. He was very ripped.
So he's doing like pull-ups or whatever on a bar. He's like spinning around and lifting himself up. He's doing all sorts of things that I don't know the names for. And it's
he
very
just
impressive.
so happens to have a parallel bar in his kitchen.
Bit strange.
And he's so tall.
Such...
He's so tall. He has to run on the roof when he gets to the top.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. I love
yeah.
that.
When he has to keep his feet tucked in because he's so tall.
He's so damn tall.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Even though he lives in a fucking warehouse, and they could have made the ceilings a bit higher for this particular scene.
They go off and they visit a market. He buys her a necklace. It's very cute. Then they have coffee.
What do you think he whispered in her ear, by the way, in that scene?
I would like a fuck, please.
I'm going to put it in you later.
Yeah, because she really likes that. She just kisses him.
Brundle keeps putting sugar in his coffee.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, he must have put like 20 fucking spoonfuls of sugar. Ronnie notices this and makes a joke about him, would you like some coffee with your sugar? Or whatever, the corny joke. Brundle is talking 19 to the dozen. He's just running his mouth fucking non-stop. He's hyper. He keeps like banging the table and stuff.
It's all that sugar.
He's saying... It must be. He keeps saying things about how the teleport is removed his imperfections, it cleansed his body, And he even says it makes a man a king. He's saying all this weird shit. He thinks that being teleported has like improved him and made him like superhuman.
Well, I mean, you know,
not entirely wrong.
Yeah,
I guess.
Before that, he buys her. He was sweet. He buys her a necklace, a little heart-shaped necklace.
Yeah,
very cute.
And Ronnie looks very concerned about how he's behaving, but obviously not too concerned because the next scene, she is just riding him.
Yeah,
on a chair in the lab.
Yeah,
he wants loads of fuck. He just wants to fuck.
Brundle looks a little bit off. His face looks a bit sort of weird.
Yeah,
Spotty. He's got acne from all the sugar.
That's what I thought was happening. I thought he just was consuming so much sugar.
And also, again, some men do just go on for hours and hours. You know, this is just general men things.
They do.
What?
Some guys can go on for ages.
I'm like
fucking Duracell bunny.
Yeah. And then they get mad at you for saying, get off.
Oh
Leave me alone.
Ronnie says, how can you keep going? You can't have any fluid left in your body. Which I loved. Wonderful. And she notices the hairy wound on his back. The hairy wound.
Hairy wound.
Hairy wound.
And Brundle notices her hairy wound.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh.
She says the hairs feel coarse. His face is all weird and mottled and stuff. She starts clipping at the hairs as he's eating ice cream.
As you do.
She manages to clip a few hairs off, and then he grabs her hand and he insists that she goes through the teleporter. And he's like dragging her towards it. This has happened very suddenly. And she says that she doesn't want to go through. And then he's like spits out at her, "You're a fucking drag, you know that?" And I'm like, what the fuck? Just out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, my favorite.
Some men are like this.
Yeah, they are. They're just fucking like, you say no to something and it's like, but my favorite was when he said, "You're too chicken shit to be part of the dynamic duo."
Dynamic duo, yeah. He wants her to become superhuman like himself.
Yeah. He wants her to feel, you know, the way he's feeling.
Yeah, because he feels amazing right now.
Right now,
He's on top of the world. Ronnie says, something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong. And he's not having any of this. He calls her chicken shit, as she said. Tells her he'll find someone else to join him and be a dynamic duo. And then he angrily, misquotes Alexander Pope. Or rather, he changes the quotes, which is very clever, but no one watching this is going to get that.
What did he? What was the quote?
Wasted. It's the thing about, it's a quote about learning, and then it's like the next line, he's changed to plasma. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it's a weird
the quote
throwaway.
Was, "You're too chicken shit to be in the dynamic duo," I think.
Yeah, and he shows off his intellect to her
I also
as well.
didn't, which we will get to this point in a moment, but I didn't realize one of the most iconic lines ever is in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's the tagline in the movie, if you're talking about that
That
one.
is awesome. I was like, yeah, I think that's the point where I was like, pointed screen. I know that one.
He goes out on the town. He visits a really nice looking bar
without
that
a
has
shirt.
Brian Ferry.
Without a shirt, thank you very much. He's just roaming shirtless.
He's got a jacket on though, right?
Yes, but he's got his.
He's not like
his
torso completely out.
Is that the jacket she bought him as well?
I think so, because it was like
Oh,
leathery.
that's messed up. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
In the bar, he meets a lady barfly.
Yeah.
A little joke there. And there's an arm wrestling match going on with two hunky men. He says to her that he's going to win this match and take her home to have fuck with her.
Doesn't she look a bit like Lindsay Lohan in Lindsay Lohan's worst days?
I kind of see what you mean. She does say the line, "Do I look like a hooker to you?" And I'm like, yes, madam. You do look like. This is Tawny, by the way. Her name is Tawny. The guy's overhear his plan, and he stops him from fighting him by saying he bets $100 he can beat either of them. And if he wins, he'll take the woman home. And he arm wrestles the biggest guy there and easily beats him. He breaks his fucking wrist. He also sort of like, there's like this weird ooze coming out of his hand, which I'm not quite sure what that is.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Man now. He was oozing.
It looks like cum coming out of his hand.
There's like murky white liquid when they were cusped together. Yeah, I thought that was like he's over sweating and it's just like very quick. And
who knows?
Yeah, I thought that was odd. Maybe it's the fly genetics kicking in or something. Who knows?
Yeah. He easily beats the guy, breaks his fucking wrist. We see the fucking exposed bone. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely horrible. It looks quite realistic.
It does. Yeah. That really got me. I was like, oh, God. Fuck.
And he grabs fucking Tawny, goes outside with her, and she says, are you a bodybuilder or something? And he says, yeah, I build bodies. I take them apart and I put them back together again. Which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Wonderful line. Wonderful.
That's a very green flag right there. If I,
Yeah. She insists they go out and they drink all night, basically.
Yeah,
and it's morning by the time they get back to the lab.
She's like, it's too early. I would have loved to have seen what the.
I want a party.
It's too early to call it a night. And I would have loved to have seen what they were doing for the duration of that. Like, he's just sitting there and she's drinking and he's just watching her.
Why would he not
eating chocolate bars?
Easier? Yeah. Why would he not find it easier to go to a different bar and find a different woman?
To be honest,
because he wanted to like show off his powers, and just he was obviously upset from earlier,
and
he wanted to hurt someone.
She had to drink away the sight of a man having his arm broken, so she can get in the mood again.
Oh yeah, probably.
I don't think she was that phased. She was not that.
She was up for it. She's up for anything with anyone, I think.
Yeah.
They take a taxi back to the lab. Brundle is looking visibly really rough. Really rough. His face looks sort of scabby. And instead of taking the elevator, he carries Tawny up the stairs, running up the stairs as he's carrying her. He then shows off the teleporter to her, teleports himself again, and then he makes love to her in... It's kind of grim. It's kind of grim because he looks bad. She's sleazy.
Yeah,
it's not nice. Yeah, it's not nice.
It did feel really grimy, didn't it? I know what you mean.
Compared to him and Ronnie earlier, which was lovely, and this was just disgusting.
We see a small arse in this scene. I think it is.
Yeah,
you see his tiny arse.
Yeah, that's what we get to see.
I do not like his arse.
It's very.
And we see the wound. We see the wound on his back, and it looks even worse now. Very hairy and gross. And after they've made fuck, he wants to take Tawny through the teleporter. He says that it will make her feel sexy. She's like, I already feel sexy, baby.
She offers an alcohol rub. What the fuck is an alcohol rub?
She tries to massage him with alcohol, which I don't think that's a thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
his skin is sensitive. Yeah, and he's like upset by it.
Very angry. It's like, don't do that, it hurts. Just knocks it out of her hand.
And then who walks in but Ronnie? Awkward. And she says the line, "Be afraid, be very afraid."
Chills.
Which I liked.
Yeah, that was iconic.
In response to Tawny sort of being a bit freaked out.
Yeah, because I think he said, like, oh, there's nothing to worry about or there's nothing to be afraid about or something. And then she said, yeah be afraid.
You should be afraid. The teleport's fucked.
Yeah.
In some way. Tawny also asks, who's this? And Brundle says, oh, I forgot to tell you, I live with my mother too. Because Tawny earlier says she lives with her mother, so they can't have sex around hers. And that was very funny. And then Tawny says, thanks for a wonderful time on the way out. And Ronnie's face is a picture.
Yeah.
She just dies inside. Oh. She then reveals that she had the hairs tested with a scientist man in a lab that she knows.
Yeah.
Because that's just normal.
Well,
Yeah.
science. She, like you said, she is a journalist for a science.
She knows scientists.
Publication, so I guess. Maybe?
I guess.
A little stretch.
And it's very
but-
likely that these hairs are of insect origin. Maybe a fly. I don't know.
Oh. Could be a fly.
And basically, she's implying that there's something horribly wrong with Brundle. And his response to this is to say, does this look like a sick man to you? And then he just punches the shit out of like a wood beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're healthy. That's healthy behavior. You look great.
Insane. Fucking insane.
Yeah. She just goes from one unhinged bastard to the next, it seems. Or maybe she turns them unhinged.
Don't say that.
She's the
That's
problem.
horrible. She is not the problem. These are just toxic men. Seth checks himself out in the mirror in the bathroom, thinking, do I look bad? Do I look sick? And he does look like shit.
Yeah.
And this is when we have the wonderful scene where he puts his like fingernail in his mouth like he's biting it. And he just bites the fingernail clean off. It just comes off between his teeth. And then like a whole bunch of gunk spunks out the tip. His fingertip.
Whoa. Spunk out
Very
of the
hard.
tip? Whoa.
No, whoa.
It's very hard to watch. I hated it. It reminded me of, there's like a scene in the Evil Dead remake, which was quite similar, with horrible stuff with a bathroom sink. Very visceral, realistic. Yeah,
I'm not a fan. Like
Nasty.
I said, not a fan of the nail horror. It really,
It's bad.
really does
Real
stuff
bad.
to me.
So Brundle realizes something may not be right. Something might be going wrong with him. He checks out the computer log on his teleportation machine, and he's having to wear this really weird pair of gloves. Did you notice the gloves?
They're like gardening gloves.
Yeah. I guess to cover what he'd done.
Because all of his fingernails have fallen off.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're pink, blue, and yellow in color. Very strange.
I have some similar gardening gloves.
Oh, yeah, I can believe that. That's very brief. It's very brief.
Seth Brufel.
The computer identifies that Brundle was the primary element that was teleported, and then he types in a question, what's the secondary element? And the computer responds with, not Brundle, which is not very helpful. Then we get some wonderful fake computer graphics. I'm pretty sure it's fake. It was the 80s.
It's great.
It shows a close-up of like a strand of DNA, and then it zooms out, and it reveals a fly. I'm not quite sure how it did this.
Yeah.
It's a very clever computer.
It should have detected. I mean, like we said, the film wouldn't have happened if so, but it should have detected like an anomaly in the pod, or it should be able to.
He didn't program it but he did program it to identify a fly's DNA sequence somehow.
Yeah, because so
he could recognize it.
Because I think he typed in he put what happened to fly, but the age-old question.
And it responds with fusion of Brundle and fly at molecular genetic level. Uh-oh.
Something's gone amiss.
Brundle phones up Ronnie. It's been 4 weeks since he threw her out. 4 fucking weeks. And he says, I've gotten much, much worse. Which, oh god.
Yeah, it's an
how
understatement.
bad could it be?
I half expected him to say bzz, bzz, motherfucker when she answered the phone.
When she arrives at the lab, he does jump scare her and us, the audience. He just sort of appears, and there's a loud hissing noise.
Pissing noise, did you say?
Hissing, not pissing.
Right, okay.
He looks absolutely fucked. His face is all scabby and scarred and bulging in places. Looks real bad.
Like I said, I will say that the attention to detail, how good everything looks in terms of like the gruesomeness and like the believability,
the makeup, effects.
Yeah, like very.
It's quite grounded in reality.
I do have to hand it to Jeff Goldblum as an actor. Like the way that as he changes, he started off as this sort of like quite a meek nerd. And then sort of as he progresses, you can tell his stature like changes and he gets all kind of like, yeah, I'm fucking amazing. And now that he's changed, he's altered, he looks really small. He manages to make himself look
hunched over.
He's like hobbling.
Yeah, but even his shoulders look smaller because he's so like folded in on himself.
Yeah, great physical actor.
Yeah, really good.
Even before they got him in that bodysuit, he looked very old and frail.
Yeah, because he was walking around with two sticks
walking
as well. But yeah, no, I think I got to hand it to him that he's done really well with that.
Very, very well done. Yeah, I agree with that.
This is definitely a low point for him. Like earlier, he was feeling superhuman on top of the world. Now he is not doing so well. He tells her about the fly, and he says, "My teleporter turned into a gene splicer, a very good one, and now I'm not Seth Brundle anymore. I'm the offspring of Brundle and a housefly." He then grabs a donut, pukes all over it,
Jesus Christ.
Without even thinking. Ronnie is absolutely horrified. He says, "Oh, sorry, yes, this is disgusting." And then immediately after that, he scratches his ear and it falls off. It's a lot all at once. It's a lot to deal with.
I was so excited to see the donuts because I was like, donuts. And then he just fucking biles all over it. I'm like,
and it looks like cum.
Oh, God. It's grim.
I mean, his shirt is covered in like what looks like cum as well. Like at that particular time.
Oh, yeah, because
every man's got a shirt like that.
I know. This is just my dating experience. We've all met men like this.
War stains, but fucking cum all over a t-shirt. Disgusting.
A solid crispy t-shirt in the corner of every
Christ
man's bedroom.
Why would you say that?
I hadn't said anything in a while.
Ronnie meets with Stathis and tells him all about it. And he has the great line where he says, "I'm sure Typhoid Mary was a very nice person too when you saw her socially."
He does have some pretty good lines, to be fair, sometimes.
Even though Brundle's a monster, she still wants to help him.
I mean, she did hug him after he'd barfed all over them donuts and he barfed all over himself. And she was still hugging him. And he was like, "Don't come close, I might be contagious." And she's still like, "Oh, but I love you."
She's hugging him, but with this weird look on her face. Like, she doesn't really want to do this, but she has to.
She is down bad. She is, like, really fucking into him. So, I mean, you know.
I mean, who wouldn't be after the marathon sessions they've been going through?
Christ. Stathis also has the line, because he thinks that she might just be, like, doomed by trying to help Brundle. He has the line, "Do I have permission to claim your body when this is all over?"
Yeah. Which is the creepiest thing he could have fucking said.
Yeah.
Couldn't fucking believe it. What a fucking asshole.
I could. I mean, he was always saying these, like, fucking weird-ass, creepy stalker, freako, like, lines. So that line, out of all the other ones, was to be expected at that point. But like I said, he has these moments of normalcy, and then he's got these quippy one-liners, but then he
reminds us of who he really is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ronnie returns to the lab, and Brundle's crawling around on the ceiling.
Literally Spider-Man.
He's feeling a lot better now. He's feeling great. He's showing off that he can crawl around on the ceiling now. And then he lifts up his shirt, or rather pulls it down because he's upside down, and he reveals this weird fucked up thing on his stomach and he says, "Oh, look at this. What's this? What's this? I don't know."
He's very chill about all of this now, isn't he? He's like changed from being like I'm scared, I'm changing, I'm disgusting, and he's like, who cares? You know, I'm walking around on the ceiling. And
Yeah, he's
things
Now
growing
he
on me.
feels like $1 million again. If we thought he looked bad in the previous scene we saw him in, now he looks so much worse.
But he feels a little better, which is.
But he feels great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says that he's excited to be turning into something that's never existed before. I'm becoming Brundlefly. He said the thing. Said Brundlefly.
He said Brundlefly.
He turns on the video camera, makes Ronnie film him as he does like a mukbang, basically.
Oh.
Emphasis on the muck.
Yeah. He says that he can't, as a fly, he can't eat solid food, so he has to vomit onto the food and then regurgitate, etc. He goes through all this.
Playfully called the vomit drop.
Disgusting. Absolutely
And
fucking revolting.
he's saying this is like he wants to teach children this.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
like
like,
they're going to show this in schools
Yeah.
to learn what
yeah.
a Brundlefly is.
Sure, yeah. Teach them to kids. They'll love it.
We cut to Stathis, who's at home,
No,
presumably
don't skip
watching
over. Don't skip over the "I'm becoming Brundlefly" line. That's one of the.
I literally said that.
he said that, G.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's G's
We cut-
ADHD brain that just tunes Simon out after a certain amount of time.
Oh my
Thanks.
god, I'm so sorry.
It's
I'm
like
so
the meme. Like the meme.
Dolores Ibsen.
She's staring straight ahead, and there's the magic roundabout music playing in her head, fading in, Simon fading out, and then she goes, "Oh yeah, Brundlefly."
Brilliant.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The ADHD is too strong when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
We cut to Stathis, who's watching this videotape of the mukbang.
Ugh.
And then Ronnie walks in. She looks a little bit upset. She sits down on like a hamper or something in the bathroom, and she announces that she is in the family way. That's right. She has a bun in the oven. She's going to be eating cheeseburgers for 2. She is preggers.
She's up the duff.
She's up the duff. And the father is Brundle.
I put, oh no.
Ruh-roh.
I put,
Ruh-roh.
oh no, she's going to give birth to Marty McFly.
Well, the next scene is they're at a hospital and she is giving birth. A lot of time must have gone by.
I thought this was just I thought this was the abortion.
Yeah, that's what
because
I thought.
she doesn't actually, she's gone for an abortion. And I wrote down, I love how in movies, especially 80s movies, when they have a shot of a hospital, there is always a nurse walking someone around outside.
Always.
Every
yeah.
single one. And it's like the person can't really walk. And you know what? Every time I've been in hospital, they haven't done that. They haven't done that at all. I
They
want
need
that.
to take you for a walk.
They need to take me for a walk. I need my walk. I need to do my business.
Sophie needs
Just
a walking.
squatting on the pavement.
I walk around, I sniff the floor, and I do my business, and then I can go back in. Whereas actually, in reality, it's just a crowd of people in wheelchairs and on drips outside, smoking next to a sign that says, "Please do not smoke in this hospital."
Yeah.
The UK.
There's cigarette butts all over the floor around that fucking sign.
And you know what?
Wonderful.
Last time I was at the hospital, there was this happening, and there was a loudspeaker announcement saying, "This is a smoke-free hospital. Please do not smoke on the campus." And I was just thinking, they're not going to pay attention to you, mate. They're not going to.
Just like me.
Anyway, the birth scene. Birth scene.
I thought that this was fucking great because
the man who's delivering the baby is the director,
Yeah.
David Cronenberg.
yay! And I knew, like, of course it would be him. Of course he would have to insert himself into this movie as that particular role.
Yeah.
Because he fucking loves it. And actually, to be fair, he's not a bad actor. To say that he's a director, he's done quite a lot of stuff in his own films.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at it.
Was it him that was in, oh God.
He was in Nightbreed,
Not
wasn't
Cabal.
Yeah,
The one that
yeah.
not
he? He was in that. He was Nightbreed. Is that
Nightbreed, that's it. Yeah.
He was in Nightbreed, and he's good in that.
Really good. He plays a fucking psycho. Yeah.
He's always
Great.
he
Serial
knows
killer.
the best roles for him.
And it's always weirdos.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the doctor wasn't weird. The scene was weird because she gives birth to a giant maggot.
Yeah. Beautiful bouncing baby maggot.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fucking huge. But don't worry, it was just a nightmare. This didn't actually happen.
This is like why she's so scared. This isn't a fact that she doesn't want to be a mother. She's worried because she was impregnated
by a fly man.
At the point when she didn't quite know that he had the genetics of a fly and a man. So
the baby is guaranteed to have fly genes.
Yeah. So obviously, like, this is a massive fear for her that she's going to give birth to a maggot, basically. And obviously, that's my fear too.
In my notes, I put time for a few gins, a hot bath, and a fall down some stairs.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, my God.
Just to put it gently.
Pretty dark. Pretty fucking dark.
I think that,
Simon?
you wouldn't even need to do that, because I don't think the human body would be well equipped to carry that sort of thing to term, honestly. I think the human body goes, wait a fucking minute.
Well, she doesn't want to find that out.
No, you don't want to find that out.
Brundle is looking very non-human now. He looks quite fucking monstrous. His plan is to dilute the amount of fly DNA in his body. For that, he needs human DNA. Quite what his plan will be, how to do that, I'm not sure. The voice identification on the computer doesn't recognize him anymore. He's got to switch to manual mode.
He's got a buzzy voice now, you see.
I love that detail. It's so good. And he's like head twitching
he's
as
got
well.
ring mod on his voice.
Yeah.
Ring modulation. We can...
His teeth all start falling out as well. And his reaction to this is he just sighs, picks up the teeth, carries them to the bathroom cabinet, opens the door, and then that's when we see the other parts of him that have fallen off.
G-Star Games.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did see it. Because that's the DiCaprio points at screen. Because I was like, oh,
there we go.
There's the cock in the jar.
Did you know? Bit of trivia for you, G. They actually modelled that on Jeff Goldblum's actual penis.
Wow.
It's very thick.
That's a girthy boy.
They actually were like, could we model that? They had a Clone Willy thing.
A Mulder Willy kit. Yeah.
Clone Willy. And have you heard the Reddit post where there was this girl who found a dildo and she used it and then she realised that it was a Clone Willy and it was her dad's?
Oh, God.
What the fuck, man?
I hope it's made up. I hope it's a Reddit thing that they've just made up.
That's horrendous.
Fucking awful. Ugh.
I wrote down G will fall for this factoid, but I don't think she fell for it. God damn it.
Oh, I did fall for it.
They actually used his real penis.
I did.
They didn't actually.
Yeah, it wasn't just me.
We did it.
I fell for it too. Yay!
There is no evidence to suggest that is anyone's actual
Wikipedia,
penis.
Listeners, add that to Wikipedia.
Put it on the IMDb.
Under trivia, yeah.
Under trivia.
Oh man, we need like a Boofy segment where she like throws in random facts. We're gonna pick the true
my God, we need to do that.
Because I always
I'm
fall
really
for
good
all
at
of them.
making things up like that. But imagine being the special effects guy that has to model a penis. They go, right, we need a penis in a jar, and he goes, right, okay, I'm gonna go out and get some inspiration, and he lines everybody up and takes pictures of the willies, and then has to.
It's a living. Beats working in a restaurant or in a bar.
True.
Bucket.
True.
Call center. Ronnie has returned to the lab. She's basically there to tell Brundlefly that he's a daddy, but she can't bring herself to actually tell him.
Because I think she knows deep down that he's going to be like, keep it.
Mm.
Yeah, she knows he's going to be weird about it. Brundlefly tells her that she should leave and never come back. He says a lot of weird things about insect politics.
I wrote down he's not going to be the first insect politician because a lot of them are fucking roaches.
Very. The roaches in Congress that we've got.
Nice.
He says the line, "I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it, but now the dream is over and the insect is awake. Which I
really
love
that line.
that.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is he saying that basically, like,
It's
the
very
fly
poetic.
in him is taking over? Like,
Yeah.
what used to be the fly was like thinking, man, I'd love to be that guy. That guy's walking around, he's eating donuts. He can eat so many donuts. My God, he's eating donuts. He's fucking people. I want to be that. And then his dream comes true.
God, every time you say donut, I get physically ill because of the scene where he just pukes all over
I'm
it.
sorry.
Oh. No, it's not you.
We'll have to reprogram you to make you like them again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna treat you.
I love
Let's treat you.
donuts, but that scene, I don't know why, that scene just it made me feel unwell. Because I was like, oh, look at this lovely donut. Then just suddenly, bleh. Ugh.
I didn't eat before watching this film because I knew what was gonna happen. So I was like,
She knew, yeah.
He knew what was
It was
coming.
a good idea you didn't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna stop eating before I watch any films to do with Yomp.
It's
Yeah.
good advice. Good advice to the listeners.
Because sometimes when you're busy, you got to get your meals in when you can, right? And sometimes you just, like when I'm like doing something specific, I'm like, I'll get my lunch in while I'm doing that. So, which is why I was eating freaking sushi when I watched Extra, which was a big mistake.
Which is fantastic.
So good.
Fantastic
So
decision.
fucking good. So Brundle, he says that poetic line about dreaming of being a man and now he's an awake insect. But then he follows up with, I'll hurt you if you stay, which isn't so good.
Again, we've had so many men. We all know men like this.
Men, bad.
Men.
She leaves, Ronnie leaves, and Stathis is there to drive her home. She says that she didn't manage to tell Brundle that he is the father of her child that she is pregnant with. Stathis, she wants an abortion. She basically just says, I want it out. I don't want it in me no more. I'm scared of what it is. I want it out right now. Stathis says, I think we should wait a few days. And she's like, no, right now. And we see at the top of the building, Brundlefly is there and he's heard everything with his presumably magical fly hearing.
Can flies hear very well, do you think?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. But he's clearly heard.
Yeah.
They are
She wants a midnight abortion.
Yeah, they are in a hospital. They're talking to the doctor. It's the middle of the fucking night.
This is going to cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Insurance isn't going to cover
No, they're in
it.
Canada. They're in Canada.
Oh,
It's
right.
fine.
Hey, that's fine.
She's taken to a room to just sit by herself to have a think about her life decisions. And through the frosted glass window smashes Brundlefly. In a beautiful... Oh, I love it so much.
They do. She does have to... They have to explain that she wants the abortion because the man who gave her the baby is deformed and the baby will be deformed too. And he's like, we can run genetic testing. And she's like, nope, don't care. Want it out.
She's like, you can never tell because it could be deformed, later on.
It's a maggot baby. It's a maggot baby. Please.
I want a maggot baby.
Brundle smashes through that glass, and he picks her up and carries her off into the night. I think he might be on the rooftop of the hospital when they have a little chat, and he says the baby might be all that's left of the real me, which
so sad. Yeah,
sad,
very sad.
Then we have Stathis, who is at the lab. He knows that Brundle would have taken her back to the lab. So he's there, and he's got a fucking... Well, before we see that he's got the shotgun, he enters the lab. He opens up the fucking sliding door, and it's the squeakiest sounding... It's like... like he's stealthily trying to enter the lab. And he slowly slides this squeaky door open, and then he slowly slides it closed behind him. And it's like...
Yeah, like it didn't make enough noise the first time.
If Brundlefly's there, he would have fucking heard you by now. My God.
He could hear you talking about an abortion in a car park several stories down. He can hear you opening and closing a door.
He opens up a case to reveal a real badass looking shotgun, which... Why does he have this? Where did he get this from?
I thought it was just in his in Brundlefly's lab.
woman stalking kit.
Oh yeah, it could be because classic. That's what he has.
I mean, he gives those vibes, honestly. Like, I don't put it past him.
Stathis plays around with the computer.
Yeah, pressing buttons
typing
on a
noises.
thing. Yeah, he doesn't understand. He's putting in random shit, but yet gets the information he was looking for, No problem.
The lab computer basically reveals the 3 pods are active now. Pods 1 and 2 will transmit 2 subjects, and pod 3 will receive them and genetically fuse them into a weird combination. Which clearly that is Brundle's plan to fuse him and Ronnie into something. God knows what that would look like, but we never see it, sadly.
Just the same, but with boobs.
Oh my God. Stathis is just sort of like wandering around, not really paying attention, and then Brundlefly just leaps down on top of him, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
absolutely scared the shit out of me when he just
I forgot
leaps down.
Stathis's name, and I wrote down Status Borax, maybe a hero. Forgot his name.
But
Status
Borax.
He's not going to be a hero today.
Oh no.
Brundlefly grabs the gun, vomits all over Stathis's hand, which melts down to the bone.
I thought that was so cool.
Holy shit. Stathis not happy about this.
I love how they do that in films. They don't do this enough anymore. Like, they have a wax thing and they just put it under a heat gun.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
It's like in Indiana Jones and stuff. They just melted the Nazis
faces. Stathis is on the ground, and then Brundlefly vomits all over his ankle, and then rips his foot off. Having a real bad day, Stathis, today. And just as Brundlefly's about to puke over his face, Ronnie calls out.
I thought he was going to eat him. Yeah, I thought he was going to just bite
his nose off.
Yeah, I thought he was just this because he digests his food. I was thinking, oh, so now he's a cannibal, eh?
That's one way of taking in DNA. I don't think that's how it works. No.
Women taking DNA all the time.
Christ on a bike. Ronnie begs Brundlefly to stop, and he says, help me become human. And he's saying this as he's crawling upside down on the ceiling with his real fucked up looking face after vomiting over her ex. And I'm like, maybe it's a bit late for this.
I thought they were going to do a Spider-Man kiss. Like upside down.
Ugh, that would have been gross. Brundlefly grabs her, leaps down to the ground, and he explains that they both need to enter the pods to be made whole. Brundle, Ronnie, and the baby as one. He fires up the machine. There's 2 minutes on the clock as the pod doors open. He says, we'll be the ultimate family, a family of 3 joined together in one body.
Come together.
Why would you want that? It's the worst thing.
I don't think he's...
I can't stand my family.
I don't think he's particularly that sane. So he's but I think he's also desperately trying to cling on to, like we said, who he was.
His humanity.
Human. Yeah, so just keeps coming up with more and more insane shit.
Ronnie, of course, doesn't want to be melded with him on a genetic level. And she struggles with him, and she just fucking rips his jaw clean off. It just falls off of him. And then flesh just starts falling off of the rest of his body in big chunks. And 2 extra limbs burst out of his body as well. His head then splits apart. His eyeballs burst as this happens. And it is fucking revolting. And then we see the space bug, as the crew called it.
Oh.
The final form of Brundlefly, possibly.
He does look a bit like a space crab, like a space.
He does not look like
some sort.
He doesn't look remotely human anymore. He's a horrible fly monster.
Yeah.
with giant black eyes,
What a
which
beautiful
somehow
boy.
show a lot of emotion, I think, those eyes.
They do. They actually do.
Yeah, I felt so freaking bad. Like near the end, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
God, this is heart-wrenching.
Brundlefly chucks Ronnie into pod 1. 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock. Stathis is awake. He's conscious again. He's trying to get his shotgun and struggle up to his feet. And Brundlefly is in the other pod. Stathis fires the shotgun at the cable that's attached to the pod Ronnie is in, which I think was very clever of him.
Genius.
That was a real good move. So it's like disconnected now. There's all sparks fly everywhere. Looks great. Brundlefly breaks out of his pod because he knows it's fucked now.
But he doesn't quite get out just
He's halfway
in time.
out. He's like halfway out as the countdown ends, and he gets disintegrated.
Yeah.
And we're like,
That's it.
oh no,
He's gone.
what could have gone?
He's
just
disappeared. Hooray!
He's teleported.
Thank God that's over. Stathis unlocks Ronnie's pod, gets her out, and the computer's still doing something. It's reconfigurating Brundlefly and part of the telepod that was disintegrated with him as he was leaving it. So pod 3 opens up, and crawling out of it is the barely alive metal-infused Brundlefly. He's got big chunks of metal just inside of his body sticking out.
Absolutely amazing. This is so Cronenberg. He was just like, yes, go all out.
Oh, it's so you feel bad for him because he's just like he's groaning.
His little eyes are bleeding.
He's crawling towards Ronnie, who's got the shotgun, and Brundlefly grabs like the end of the shotgun and like points it towards his own head.
That's so sad, isn't it?
It's so
really
sad.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's like, I can't do this. But she does do this. She blows Brundlefly's fucking head to complete smithereens. And that's it. That's the end. That's how it ends. Holy shit.
She's
no
like
messing around.
crying.
No epilogue.
I love that about that film.
Just
That's the best.
What an insane
when
ending.
films just fucking end, it's great.
No
Like,
messing around.
I don't need anybody to sum anything up for me.
Like the
I
end
like
of
a little bit
Psycho
of-
with the cops. Yeah, it seems like he was a psycho, some kind of psycho. He
End
kept his mother's
credits.
corpse in the basement downstairs. You know, they keep like, why did they have that? Why?
No, you don't need that. You don't need it. But
Right.
yeah.
So, final thoughts. G-Star Games. This was your pick. Would you like to summarize your final thoughts about this movie and give it a rating?
Yeah. I like the story, the plot, the attention to detail in terms of the prosthetics and the bodysuits and the body horror. I mean, obviously he's renowned for that kind of stuff and he lives up to that. So, the music, amazing. I mean, Howard Shaw, incredible music composer. So I think there's just so much to admire about it. I think so many of the different things that make it incredible just elevate it to such a it's amazing. I didn't think I would like it so much. But I did.
I
mean,
am surprised because the whole time I was thinking, oh, I don't know whether G's gonna like this. Oh, is it a bit much? Is it a bit much for her? But I'm glad to hear that you even that you appreciated some bits about it. But yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, no, I thought the body horror was. I mean, yeah, some bits were a bit queasy and a bit like intense, but I mean that's the point, right? It's supposed to make you feel like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, plot act. I mean, the acting was amazing. There's just, like I said, so many different parts of it that just all made this incredible piece of media. With that in mind, I would say it's a 7 for me.
Oh my!
Wow.
Maybe
After all of that, you just give it a 7. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I totally
maybe
understand that.
it's a 7 to a 7.5. It's a good film. I do like it. I'm not saying because it's not my typical type of film. That's why I'm giving it a 7. There is a lot that I admire about it. I do really like it. So it's,
I don't think
G
G needs to. You don't need to justify your scores.
no, okay, that's fair
because
enough.
I did say a lot of good things about it, so I get it.
Absolutely, but
Is it a 7 or a 7.5 though?
Like a 7 is a good score. So I think to be
7.
fair to what I'm saying, I think a 7.5 is a bit more justified in to back up all the things that I said.
But
so I guess it's
equally
we do.
Equally, like you can say all these good things, but you can still not like a movie. But
That's true. Yeah.
like I don't think G has to say all of these points mean that I give it this score because it was this film. But if you don't connect to a film or you don't like it as much,
No, I really found myself very engaged with it. I found the pacing to be pretty good. Like I said, the acting was pretty well done. There wasn't a lot of like slow moments. There were like a lot of the moments in the film had me very interested, and they were very like there was a point, and then sometimes with a film there's like a lot of things that there's no point to it, but I felt very, very connected to it, and I think it did a really good job. So yeah, 7.5 I would say is my score.
Excellent. Sophie, would you like to go next?
Yes, I thought it was a great remake of the classic because it had Vincent Price in. I'm itching to watch the original.
He only has a smallish role in.
I know, but he's in it, and I love him. And yeah, it starts off nice and easy and ends up absolutely hellish. The pacing, like G said, was spot on. I didn't feel bored. I didn't feel like it was too much at any point because things sort of like it built up to a big climax, sure, but it was like then it gives you a break and it just ends, and it's really good. Very gross practical effects, really good, and fantastic acting. Like I think it's great, and it still holds up as a great film. And there's not too many characters as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, good point.
I'm not overwhelmed with like too many people to follow or whatever. Like you don't have to meet everybody at the science thing. That there's no pointless characters hanging around and just being like.
Even the ones that do get introduced, they don't linger. Like the chick from the bar and the
doctors
two guys at the
and
bar,
everything.
the doctors.
They serve their purpose and then they're gone. And and I like that. There's no fucking around with it. So I gave it 2 scores, and I was like, I'm thinking about it because I gave it 7 out of 10, and I was like, I'm thinking about it 8 out of 10 because I really liked it.
Oh,
yeah.
Solid.
Lovely.
What about you, Simon?
Solid.
I gave it a 9. I really love this film. I really love this film. Even though it's been maybe, close to 20 years since I watched it last.
Wow. I must have watched it 10 years ago.
I watched it so often as a teenager, but I haven't watched it in so long. I really loved it back in the day. The gore, the gross effects, the goop. I guess the sex scenes probably helped for teenage me to enjoy. The effects feel very grounded in reality, as crazy as they get. I think the pacing and the build-up helps. It doesn't get too crazy too early. Jeff Goldblum is just purely fantastic in it. Gina Davis's acting is wonderful. Just you feel for her, you really do.
Yeah.
I love movies that are a great mix of horror and science fiction, and this
also
absolutely nails it.
A nice bit of like romance, just enough to be like there is a human element here, but it doesn't go over the top.
It feels very believable. The relationship.
It doesn't go too far into it either. because that would be a pain in the
Yeah.
arse if it lingered too much on that. Because it's like I don't care that much about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no boring moments in this film, in my opinion. I think the pacing is that good.
I was waiting with bated breath, like, oh my, like, what's happening? What's the next? What's going on? What's going to happen? Where is this going? I didn't think I'd be so engaged, but it really just kept me guessing, like, where is this going? And obviously that climax was, Jesus, insane.
One of our highest rated watches. It's up there. We all loved it. Fantastic. Do we have any wonderful bits of trivia that you might have found?
Other than that was actually Jeff Goldblum's penis in the jar.
Yeah. And nothing we've already mentioned.
And that it was Shakma.
That's wonderful.
I love that. I just think that he's such a good little actor monkey. He's a good boy.
You mentioned Vincent Price in the first adaptation of the short story. Jeff Goldblum wrote him a letter saying, "I hope you like it as much as I liked yours." Price describes the film as wonderful right up to a certain point. It went a little too far, which...
Yeah.
I wonder what he means by that, though.
I wonder.
It does go quite far.
I mean, I
in
haven't... the thing is, because I've not seen the original, so I don't
it's a
know
1950s.
how far from that.
It's a 50s movie. It's not going to be gory.
I'm gonna mention another little throwback. So when I was a kid, we used to watch Gary Larson's Tales from the Far Side, which is an animated short about Gary Larson's characters in his little comic strip bits that he does. And there was a little sketch where there was loads of bugs on a plane, and it was like they were flying on an airline, and they had the little grubs in the overhead lockers, and they were serving grubs on little plates. And the in-flight movie was The Fly, and as soon as it was the original Fly, and as soon as they reveal, like, and she screams at the fly coming out of the machine, they all give a round of applause. It was really cute, and I loved that. And that was my first exposure to The Fly as a thing. I was like, what film is that?
Genuinely a great piece of trivia somehow.
It's a bit of Sophie trivia.
We need more Sophie trivia.
Yeah. My and also the comic strip presents The Yob is on Channel 4. You can watch that. And you can also watch it via a VPN if you're not in the UK.
Yeah.
Because it's just free.
You'll have to link that when we put this on the internet.
I'll whack it in the Patreon.
Whack it.
Because it's so good. It's one of my favourite comic strip presents as well.
The first name in the end credits is Chris Wallace Incorporated. This was the creator and designer of the Brundlefly makeup. And after screening, the audience cheered when they saw his name appear on screen at the end.
Oh, that's nice.
Aww,
Producer Stuart Kornfeld turned to Wallace and said, "You're getting the Oscar." And that prediction came true. He won the Academy Award for Best Makeup.
Wow.
Congratulations, Chris Wallace.
Fantastic. It was really good.
Fantastic, man.
The fly's vomit was made from honey, eggs, and milk.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
that was nice.
Okay, that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
That actually does make me feel better. That's cool.
It's all nice, tasty, edible stuff. Like sweet and nice. And I like the fact that the Wrangler and Jeff Goldblum were the only ones who managed to keep the primate, the monkey, Typhoon, in check.
It's a baboon. It's not a monkey.
Baboon. Because he was so... There's no such thing as a tame baboon, said Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And Jeff was much bigger and stronger than the baboon, was able to dominate him. And then the baboon was like, all right, I relent to this man. You're the boss. This is how cool Jeff Goldblum is.
He's
great.
Such a cool guy. After watching some of his early films, director Martin Scorsese asked to meet David Cronenberg. Upon meeting him, Scorsese said he looked like a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. This inspired Cronenberg to give himself a cameo as a doctor. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Oh my God. Mel Brooks, director of The Producers, was a producer of The Fly.
No.
That's right, the Mel Brooks. He didn't want
Mel
people to
Brooks.
know he was a producer for the film because he thought people wouldn't take the film seriously. Like, they thought it would just be like a farce or a comedy. But then when people did find out, he, at the premiere, started handing out dealy boppers to people, which are like antennae.
I used to love dealy boppers.
So they look like
all the
flies.
time in the late 90s and the 2000s. I was like, this is a fashion statement.
Oh my God, it certainly is.
Yeah.
The statement is, I'm an idiot, unfortunately.
But, you know, I owned it. And I'm still fucking rocking that statement.
Fantastic. Got any more trivs?
Yes. Gina Davis wasn't acting when Jeff Goldblum's right ear falls off. Her reaction in the film was genuine. She was genuinely shocked when it was filmed.
She didn't know it was going to happen.
She didn't know it was going to happen. And it was just like, yeah,
that's
cool.
amazing.
Oh, that's quite mean.
The insect line. So I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it, but now that dream is over and the insect is awake is a reference to
Metamorphosis.
The
by
Metamorphosis.
Franz Kafka. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess, are we done with trivia? We've got to try and wrap this off.
There's a lot of trivia, but I think we've given our favorite bits. I suppose.
I do have a question. What is the latest stage of Seth Brundle's transformation that you would still have sex with him?
As soon as he starts getting like
the
really,
pimples,
really, yeah, like when he's gone to the bar. And
arm wrestler Brundle.
Arm wrestler Brundle is not. I'd probably be like, I could probably catch something off that man.
Oh, right. So you the one before, I guess, is like gymnast Brundle.
I'd do gymnast Brundle.
Yeah.
Even if
I
it's
thought
spotty,
you meant-
fine.
I don't think anyone would do the vomit on a donut one.
No.
That's too far.
You know, some people are into some weird shit, so
That's
never know.
true. That's true. I'm not sure what the term for a furry is that's like an insect.
What would you... A buzzy. I like a buzzy.
Buzzy.
What would be the best and worst thing to get melded with, gene spliced with by accident?
Just a horse with a massive cock.
What is the best or the worst?
Oh, well, I'll let you decide.
Oh,
Jesus. They can scramble your insides.
Oh, one of those
death
Japanese
trap.
raccoons with the big balls.
a tanuki. Add Pom Poko to the list. That's too sad. I can't watch Pom Poko. About tanukis. Yeah. And they've all got the magic ball sacks and they can change into things and they can change the balls.
Fucking hell. Gee, did this film bomb or was it a hit?
The budget was an estimated 15 mil. I think the
milliliters?
worldwide milliliters, 15 milliliters.
15 mil?
And I think the gross worldwide was 60 million. I think it was 60 million because it's got the stats for US and Canada and then the opening
It's 4 times the money.
That's incredible.
Yeah, which is
great.
Amazing. Did really good. It was a success.
Great success.
And do you think this would make a good video game?
Playing as a fly. Bzz. You are the fly.
No, what would the fucking game be though?
I think that it would be like one of those merge games that you get in your phone, right?
Oh yeah.
And you merge things together, but sometimes one of the objects you're moving quickly turns into a fly and you have to stop merging, else you create a weird monster that vomits some donuts.
So it would not be a good video game,
No,
is what you're saying.
No, it wouldn't be dog shit.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't work.
No.
Right then.
Okay.
Do we want to roll for our next movie?
Let's do
Let's
it.
roll. Let's roll
rock
that
and roll.
dice. I will Did I replace the fly last week, or is it this week that I'm doing that?
You need to replace it this week, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going with Ocean's 11.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
Okay. That's
I love Ocean's 11.
quite a different film.
Yeah.
That's a very G film.
I've got Ocean's 11, Raiders of the Lost Ark, John Carpenter's They Live.
I assume it's the remake with George Clooney in and not the original one.
Yes, the remake.
Okay. Just thought I'd check.
Yes, obviously it's gonna be that.
Well, do you know what? I might watch both. Who knows?
Why not? Hey?
I'm not sure
yourself.
what kind of movie this is. A heist movie, I guess, is what it is. Right then.
Yeah.
So we've got our lists. I have My Fair Lady, Heather's The Brood, please. Equilibrium, Krull, and Iron Sky. G has Ocean's 11, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Sea of Love, Jaws, The Great Gatsby, and They Live. And Booth has Labyrinth, The Hidden, An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, Pass Through, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and Cemetery Man. I can't even. Okay, roll a d6 to see which number on our lists.
Oh, yes.
Equilibrium, Jaws, or Pass Through.
Oh my god.
This is tense, man. Every time it comes up with a 4, it's like, "Ugh."
Okay, right. So a 1 or a 2 will be me. A 3 or a 4 will be G. 5 or a 6 will be Sophie. Oh, thank God. It's Jaws.
Actually pretty, yeah. I can deal with that.
Okay, that's good. That's 2 Gs in a row. It's often the case.
GG.
Yeah, I don't get it. I've stopped questioning it at this point. I don't
Dice
get it,
love you.
but sure.
Dice just love you so much.
So much.
So does everybody else, though.
Jaws.
Oh,
Very slow, boring movie in places, and you're gonna just get your phone out and start texting your mates and eating hot chip.
I might text G while I'm watching it, just so
do it.
I've got something to do.
I don't know. Maybe it won't be as bad as I remember the pacing. Maybe it'll be great.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I did tune out the last time I watched it until the Sharky was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those films that I wanted to put on because I know it's a cult classic, and I know a lot of people do like it.
I wouldn't call it a cult movie. It's like it was the film that launched the summer blockbuster.
It's an important film, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's just one of those films that is very renowned, and a lot of people do like it, and they have it in high regard. So I was curious to see what we would all think of it in today's day and age.
Jaws. We're watching Jaws.
Jaws. Thank you, everyone, for listening to YOMP.
And that was this week's YOMP.
This was YOMP. You've been listening to YOMP. Pickaxe.
Is that your impression of Daft doing pickaxe?
It was, yeah.
Good.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of YOMP. I hope you enjoyed it, because we love talking about this stuff. Thank you so much to our patrons on patreon.com/YompCast, without which we could probably still do it, but we wouldn't get any money for it. Thank you, Cornelius Vander. Thank you, Eggy. I Am a Robot, Lawrence Thibodeau, Luck33, Native Blood, Scott5877, and Sleepy Deej. You guys are the top tier gigayompers. Thank you so much for that. We'll see you next week.